October's National Bullying Prevention Month. 13-year-old Johnai Price is a bullying survivor from New Jersey who at one point thought about taking her own life. She's since decided to tackle bullying through her organization Don't Butterfly. NBC News now caught up with her at her first annual event. As a warning, this story deals with some very sensitive issues and some viewers might find the content disturbing.
They would call me a fat A, a fat B, the hippo from Madagascar. When it happens, I just sit and wonder why. I was always taught by my mom when I was growing up to always keep myself looking a certain way and to make myself look the best that I could. It brings up my confidence a little bit more. Bullying for me has been happening since first grade, and I'm going into 8th grade now, so it's been
quite a while.
Yeah, quite a while. We're just sitting there laughing, having a good time at lunch, and then somebody will say something towards me. When it happens, I just sit and wonder why, because I never did anything to them.
She refused to go back to school. My plan was just, okay, I'll let her stay home maybe 2 or 3 more days. But she then sent the video. She sent us a video on the phone telling me she wanted to hurt herself. She didn't want to be here anymore. The video broke me all the way down. Hoo-wee, you could break me down now. And I told her, I'm glad that she let me know because now I can at least try and help her. As a parent, it was like one of the hardest things that I've ever heard, to come from your child.
Throughout the whole year, I didn't feel like that. Even with other incidents happening, I didn't feel that way.
And how was it, though?
And
you got to.
It's just I was getting tired of it. Tired of being called names.
Can you say how you felt when you made the video? Why? You think it would hurt us? You just don't want to go back there? You don't want to feel those feelings again? I didn't want her out of my sight. I don't want to shelter her, but you're fearful of what's going to happen. Like every day when she went to school, it's like, okay, what is going to be the last straw? What is going to be the breaking point for her?
I wanted to make DOPE because I thought I was alone. It's an acronym for Despite Oppositions, Pursue Excellence. What I want to achieve with DOPE is to help other kids know that they're not alone and find a way to connect with them even if I don't know them. We send the boxes to uplift, encourage, and help other girls who are going through the same thing that I went through and who need that help and support. The reason why I started the Butterfly was to give other girls support because not everybody has the same support that I did. So when I was going through bullying, I thought I was the only one going through it. I see I wasn't alone, that there were others, and even if they don't know each other, we can still support each other. Support.
Let me tell you what you can do. You can talk to me because I did this, and let me tell you what happened. Talk to them, talk, communicate. Let's be open and honest about this.
There was a boy in school that found the picture of a vagina. And he posted on Instagram with her name. It was out there for a whole month and she didn't know. The kids, her friends, start pulling away from her, start calling her a hoe. She didn't know why. None of her friends wanted to be bothered with her. She lost every friend she had.
When that happened, I didn't know how to deal with it. Like, I left school because of the bullying got so bad.
In the heat of the moment, I was really upset. And at that moment, I kind of believed what they said. It made me feel like I was nothing.
If they believe I am, then why aren't I? That's how I felt.
I kind of shut everyone out, and every time someone would ask me if I'm okay, I would say yeah.
I'm happy that I came here though, because it doesn't feel like I'm alone anymore, because like I know they're being bullied too, and like we could help each other.
We need people to show us that we're not alone. There's people like us, and we can get the help we need. Everything will be okay.
My dream came true and turned into this right here. I hope I did help them. I was really in a dark place in my life, but now I'm more open and I'm very proud of what I did and what I've become in doing Dope Butterfly.
I'm very proud of my baby. She's my hero because something that could have destroyed her, she's turned it around.
I love you. Too.
Hey, NBC News viewers, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down here and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives. Thanks for watching.